Welcome to Whispers and Confessions. There might be a twist waiting, so please make sure to watch until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's begin right away.
We surrendered to passion, exploring each other with reckless abandon. In those heated moments, the world outside ceased to exist as we became completely wrapped up in each other, our connection growing more intense. My ego swelled with dangerous pride. I've still got it, I thought smugly. A beautiful young woman like her wanting me? Emily's attention made me feel alive again, and I foolishly believed I was recapturing my youth. The fact that I could attract someone her age went straight to my head, clouding any sense of judgment I had left. My name is Nolan, and I run a family restaurant in my 40s. For 8 years, my wife Sarah and I have managed the place together while raising our family. Sarah's always had my back, working late shifts when we're swamped and still managing to be an amazing mom to our 2 kids at home. Everyone would tell me how lucky I was to have Sarah. But you know how it goes over time. I started taking her dedication for granted. Things started getting rocky between us. Sarah was burning the candle at both ends, juggling the restaurant and home life, but I just couldn't see where she was coming from. Hey, I'm tired too. I'm working just as hard. I'd snap. She'd just give me this exhausted look and walk away. Seeing her like that started getting to me. She wasn't the same affectionate person anymore. That's when Emily walked into the picture, our new part-timer. Fresh out of college at 23, she was this breath of fresh air with flowing blonde hair and $1 million smile that lit up the whole restaurant. At first, she was just another good employee, but something started to change. Great job today, Nolan. Emily would flash that bright smile every closing time. You're incredible, Nolan. Watching you work makes me want to step up my game too. Her compliments gave me butterflies, something I hadn't felt in ages. These were words I wasn't hearing from Sarah anymore. One night, while Sarah was passed out from exhaustion, I got a text from Emily while doing the books. Nolan, thanks for today. I know it's late, but could we chat for a minute? My heart skipped a beat. After some back and forth in my head, I made the call. Still up, huh? I said. Just wanted to say thanks. It was crazy busy today, but we handled it really well thanks to you, Nolan. Her voice was gentle. That was the beginning. We started texting late into the night, and Emily kept finding ways to get closer. It started innocently enough. Then one day, Emily dropped a bomb. Sarah's so lucky to have you, Nolan. If you were mine, I'd never take you for granted. Those words sent electricity through my body, equal parts excitement and guilt. But I couldn't stop myself. The perfect storm hit when we closed early one day. Sarah had taken the kids to her folks, and somehow Emily and I ended up having drinks. Life's been rough lately, Nolan. Relationship drama. Money problems. I'm just so glad I can talk to you. She leaned her head on my shoulder, whispering, I don't know what I'd do without you. I couldn't bring myself to push her away. Her touch sent my head spinning. My brain was screaming that this was wrong, but my heart was pulled toward Emily's warmth. Emily became my ray of sunshine. That smile, that sweet voice, those innocent eyes, they all made my heart race. She was everything Sarah wasn't anymore, young, vibrant, and energetic. Every moment with her was electric, and every little thing she did felt magical. Things escalated from there. We'd share secret looks across the restaurant, grab drinks, or coffee after hours. I was falling hard for Emily, while Sarah and I grew further apart. But guilt was always there, gnawing at me. Lying next to Sarah at night, my heart would pound thinking about those messages with Emily. I'd break into a cold sweat whenever Sarah glanced at my phone, terrified someone would catch on. Of course, Sarah started picking up on the changes. Why are you getting home so late? Is there really that much work? I'd nervously brush it off. Just catching up on the books, Don't worry about it. But Sarah wasn't buying it. She started showing up at the restaurant unannounced, keeping tabs on Emily and me. Then one day, everything came crashing down. Sarah began noticing the changes in me, my late nights at work, my distant attitude, and what seemed like an unusually close relationship with Emily, our part-timer. At first, she brushed it off as work stress, but as time went on, her suspicions became more intense. One evening while Emily and I were closing up, she playfully touched my arm. "Did I mess anything up today, Nolan?" she asked with a laugh. Right then, Sarah walked in. Well. Her voice was ice cold. "Oh, hey, what brings you by?" I stammered nervously. Sarah's eyes darted between Emily and me, just wondering why my husband's been coming home so late these days. Emily tried to smooth things over. "Hi, Sarah. Nolan's just been super swamped with the restaurant lately." Sarah's response was clearly sarcastic. "Oh, yes, my husband is very busy these days." The tension in her voice was unmistakable. Feeling the awkwardness, I tried to get Sarah to leave. "I'll head home right after we finish up here." But Sarah wasn't having it. "Actually, I think I'll stick around and help close up tonight." After that, Sarah started dropping by the restaurant regularly, no longer buying my excuses about late nights. Whenever she was around, Emily would keep her head down and stay quiet. The atmosphere was suffocating. "Sarah's constant visits are making things really uncomfortable," Emily confided in me one day. "We're just co-workers, but she acts like I'm doing something wrong." Her words sparked an irrational anger towards Sarah. "Don't worry about it. She's just being oversensitive." That night, Sarah and I had another blowout fight. "What's really going on between you and that girl?" Sarah confronted me directly. "Come on, she's just an employee. Stop being paranoid." I deflected, but Sarah pressed on. "Then why are you always there late with her?" Her accusations really set me off. "Why are you acting like this? How many times do I have to tell you I'm just busy with work?" "Busy? You mean busy flirting with her?" That hit a nerve. "You barely pay attention to me anymore, and now you're throwing accusations? Do you have any idea how hard I work? All you do is complain about being tired." Sarah broke down in tears. "I'm tired because I'm helping run the restaurant, taking care of our home, and raising our kids all at once. But I was too angry to care." "Is that why you can't understand me finding comfort somewhere else?" The moment those words left my mouth, Sarah was stunned into silence. A few days later, she confronted me with the restaurant's security footage showing Emily and me getting cozy. "Care to explain this?" she demanded, holding up her phone. My mind went blank. "It's just friendly conversation after work. You're reading too much into it." But Sarah wasn't buying it anymore. "Really? Then why is your hand on her shoulder? Why is she leaning on you?" I could only hang my head in shame. Sarah let out a heavy sigh. "Can you honestly tell me nothing's going on?" I tried making excuses until the end, but Sarah's eyes were cold and knowing. That night, she started packing. "I can't do this anymore. I trusted you, and this is how you repay that trust." I tried to stop her, but she pushed me away. "Save it. I'm done." And just like that, she was gone. Standing alone in our house, the reality of what I'd done finally hit me, but it was too late. Everything was crumbling around me. After Sarah left, I felt lost. Alone in our empty house, thoughts of her and the kids kept creeping in, but weirdly, part of me felt relieved. No more arguments, no more suspicious looks. That feeling of freedom didn't last long, though. One night, while closing up, Emily approached me carefully. "Are you doing okay, Nolan? You seem really down lately." Her voice was gentle, and my resolve wavered. "I'm fine, just tired." But Emily moved closer. "It must be rough being alone. Let me be here for you." She softly placed her hand over mine, and without thinking, I took it. I can't believe how late it's gotten. The tension between us was electric. Without thinking, I found myself drawing closer to Emily. After closing up that night, we had a few drinks. Emily rested her head on my shoulder, her voice soft and vulnerable. You know, you make everything better somehow. My hand found its way to her cheek. Being with you feels so right. As she tilted her face up towards mine, something shifted between us irrevocably. Her youthful beauty was intoxicating, and I lost myself completely, consumed by feelings I'd long forgotten. My heart raced with an excitement I hadn't experienced in my 8 years with Sarah. We surrendered to passion, exploring each other with reckless abandon. In those heated moments, the world outside ceased to exist as we became completely wrapped up in each other, our connection growing more intense. My ego swelled with dangerous pride. I've still got it, I thought smugly. A beautiful young woman like her wanting me? Emily's attention made me feel alive again, and I foolishly believed I was recapturing my youth. The fact that I could attract someone her age went straight to my head, clouding any sense of judgment I had left. After that night, staying late became our routine. God, what a day, Emily would sigh, giving me that look that made my pulse quicken. Want to stick around for a bit? The storage room became our private sanctuary. Those stolen moments felt electric, breathing new life into my days. When I was with Emily, thoughts of Sarah and the kids completely vanished. Her vibrant energy and seemingly innocent charm were addictive, and I fell deeper into our affair. Time seemed to stand still in our private little world. But secrets have a way of getting out. One evening, Mike, a regular from the neighborhood, pulled me aside. "What's going on with you lately? The whole neighborhood's talking." His face was dead serious. "There are some pretty wild rumors about you and that young employee." My blood ran cold. What rumors? "People are saying you two are getting pretty cozy in here. Word is your wife left too." I tried to brush it off, but Mike's expression told me he wasn't buying it. That night, Emily and I had a heart-to-heart at the restaurant. "Nolan, are we doing the right thing?" Her eyes were filled with worry. "Everyone's talking about us. I'm scared. What if Sarah finds out?" Her concerns sparked an irrational anger in me. "Why bring this up now? You were just as much a part of this as I was." Emily's eyes welled up. "I thought what we had was real. But lately, you seem so on edge." Her words left me conflicted, but I tried to smooth things over. "Don't worry, baby. I'll handle everything." Sarah burst into the restaurant the next day, her face twisted with rage. "I've seen everything," she said, her voice trembling with fury as she turned to Emily. "You've been sleeping with my husband. In my restaurant." Emily backed away, pale-faced. "You're fired. Get out." I stepped forward to intervene, but Sarah's next words stopped me cold. "I have the security footage." Emily fled without another word. I couldn't face going home that night. Sarah's ultimatum came via text: "Choose divorce or your family. I won't live with a cheater." I stared out the window, numb. Even though everything was crashing down around me, I couldn't shake my feelings for Emily. That confrontation at the restaurant had effectively destroyed everything. Sarah kicked me out, and Emily, terrified by the whole scene, quit on the spot. The restaurant was falling apart, and so was I. In desperation, I called Emily that night. "Emily, please, we can figure this out together." But her voice was distant. "I can't do this anymore, Nolan. Sarah could ruin my life. But what about us? What we have is real." My voice cracked with desperation. Emily's response was quiet but firm. "Real? Look at the mess we've made, Nolan. What did you think would happen?" The truth in her words hit me like a physical blow. Finally, I saw our affair for what it was: a selfish fantasy. Sarah served me divorce papers a few days later. "It's over. I want you out of my life." I made one last desperate plea. Please, one more chance. I'll make things right. But Sarah stood firm. Make things right? It's way too late for that. You became dead to me the moment you betrayed our marriage. Though tears filled her eyes, her voice never wavered. You never really loved me. I was just convenient. I was a fool to trust you. Words failed me. Sarah's true worth finally hit home, but her heart was already closed to me forever. She took the kids and moved in with her parents. Left alone in our empty house, I drowned my sorrows in alcohol night after night, still trying to reach Emily. On the rare occasion she actually picked up, her tone was distant and cold. Stop calling me. I found another job. I want nothing to do with you anymore. Emily was clearly done with our toxic relationship. My obsession with Emily meant nothing now. She had completely cut me off. With everything in shambles, I made the difficult decision to sell the restaurant. Both my affair with Emily and my marriage were in ruins, leaving me no reason to keep the business running. On my final day of ownership, Sarah showed up with our kids. While they rushed to hug me with bright smiles, Sarah's face remained as cold as ice. The kids still need their father in their life. But we're done, Sarah said, her voice cracking slightly. I wrapped my arms around our children, tears streaming down my face. I'm so sorry. Daddy made a terrible mistake. As she turned to leave with them, Sarah delivered one final blow. Don't you dare show your face around us again. Just like that, I lost it all, the restaurant, my family, any chance at love. Everything crumbled because of my foolish choices and selfish desires. The days dragged on endlessly in solitude, with Sarah's parting words and Emily's icy tone haunting my every thought. One night, in a drunken haze before passing out, I called Sarah. I'm so sorry. I know it sounds crazy now, but I can't imagine life without you. The call went straight to voicemail, plunging me deeper into despair. The house felt deafeningly quiet after Sarah and the kids left. The restaurant was gone. Emily had vanished from my life, and all I had left was an empty house and my regrets. A month into Sarah's departure, everything finally came crashing down. Every night was a blur of alcohol, waking up alone in my disaster of a bedroom. Each glance in the mirror showed a shell of my former self, dark circles under bloodshot eyes, unkempt hair. I had become unrecognizable. In a moment of weakness, I drunk dialed Emily. Surprisingly, she picked up. What do you want? Her tone was ice cold. Past the point of rational thinking, I pleaded, I'm sorry for everything, but what we had was real. You know that? Emily let out an exasperated sigh. Just stop, Nolan. You nearly destroyed my life. Don't ever contact me again. Her words cut deep. I never imagined something that once felt so precious could shatter so completely. I tossed my phone aside and reached for another bottle. Then, out of the blue, Sarah called. The kids really miss you. Come see them if you want. My heart skipped a beat. After complete radio silence, this first contact from Sarah filled me with equal parts hope and dread. When the day came, I cleaned myself up and headed to her parents' place. The kids came running, throwing their arms around me. Daddy! Tears welled up instantly, but Sarah's gaze remained distant. Sitting across from each other, she spoke matter-of-factly. The kids love you, but don't get any ideas about us getting back together. Though stunned, I tried to keep my composure. I've changed, Sarah. Please, give me one more chance. I'll prove it to you. She shook her head firmly. A chance? You burned through all of those already. I won't let you hurt me again. Fighting back tears, I begged, please, reconsider. If not for us, then for the kids. Sarah took a slow sip of tea before responding. I appreciate that you're trying to be there for the kids, but that's not enough reason to rebuild our marriage. Her resolve was unshakable, and I had to accept that her love for me was gone. From then on, I only saw the kids during scheduled visits, focusing on being the best father I could be since reconciliation with Sarah seemed impossible. Still, returning home after these visits always left me feeling hollow. The brief joy of seeing my children's smiling faces quickly faded in my empty house. One day, I passed by my old restaurant. A new owner was cheerfully greeting customers, and word on the street was that Emily had moved on and was doing well. I stood there, staring blankly, thinking, how did my life fall apart so completely? After lingering for a while, I walked away and sent Sarah another message that night. I'm still so sorry. I promise to keep being the best father I can be. As usual, no response came. These days, I spend my nights alone with my thoughts. Looking back on 8 years with Sarah, knowing I threw it all away for a moment of excitement, the pain is almost unbearable. The what ifs torture me. If only I'd appreciated what I had. If only I'd been more considerate of Sarah's feelings. The affair with Emily was doomed from the start. I never imagined that a little flirtation and excitement would cost me everything. In hindsight, those feelings weren't love at all, just an escape from reality. Instead of being the husband and father my family deserved, I let myself get carried away by a fantasy. During my weekly visits with the kids, Sarah's cold stare cuts right through me. Those eyes that once looked at me with such love now view me as a complete stranger. I know it's the price I have to pay for my choices, a burden I'll carry for the rest of my life. The hardest lesson I've learned is this: maintaining a strong relationship takes dedication and understanding. Just stay grateful and try to see things from your partner's perspective. But I learned the hard way that once you break someone's trust, getting it back is nearly impossible.